Today I'm doing something wild, drawing Baby Saja in 4 completely different styles. We're talking realistic, horror, babyfied, and even a cracked stone one. One of these is adorable, and the other is nightmare fuel. Can you guess which one is which?
My little soda pop.
We're starting off today with realistic, and we're going to be using primarily color pencils for the entirety of realism. We want to start by adding a nice base layer of cream, and then adding a whole bunch of peach colors over the top. Here's a good tip on how I like to blend color pencils. You can either use a stump or a white color pencil. I prefer to use a white color pencil, but some people try to use a stump. One way you're going to achieve all of this is by gently working in small circular motions, as you're seeing me do here. As you work over the top, that's how you're going to blend everything out. Because Baby Saja is such a light-skinned character, we want to use the darks sparingly. So we're not going to hit that much on the browns. Instead, we're going to focus on pulling the browns out with a lot of subtle blending. And please, when you're doing color pencil, do not blow to get rid of the dust. Use a brush. It won't smear the paper. If you sometimes blow, you can put spit on the paper, you can even smear the paper. We don't want to damage our good artwork. Just simply brush it off. Now, before we get too far into this little quadrant, I have to ask you, which is your favorite Saja boy, or are you a Huntrix person? Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite and why. Personally, for me, it's probably Derpy the Tiger or Zoe. But then again, I really do like Rumi and Gino, but then again, I like a lot of the characters because I think the story is so well written. And when it comes out in the movie theaters in just a couple of days, will you be there for the sing-along that's going to happen inside the movie theaters? Are you going to be grabbing tickets? And what song do you want to sing the most if you are going to be in the movie theaters? Now here's a trick for hair. As you can see, I added a nice little base layer with the alcohol markers because they have a certain translucence. But for the most part, when you're working with all these fine little hairs, you're going to layer up with basically 3 colors, and that's how you're going to get all these nice little striations within the hair. So you're going to add the gray sparingly. We're going to go over it with a whole bunch of color. Then you want to mix and match all these little highlight hairs over the top. Next up, we have the cracked effect. For those of you who are new to my channel and you want to know what the cracked stone effect is, we basically want to transform Baby Saja into a cracked stone statue. So how do we do that? We first add in where all the crack marks in, and then fill it in with a basic simple coloring. And for this effect, I will be primarily using my Ohuhu markers. As you can see here, they are a monstrous number. It's the 200 plus pack. Now, do you need all 200 markers? Absolutely not. You can get this effect with just about any marker, but Ohuhu for me give the most value for what you get as per quality. A lot of times in the comments, people ask me what art supplies I use, so that's why I'm going to be dropping what art supplies I use for each of the different quadrants, just so you get an idea of what I like to use on any given project. With the coloring complete, now we just have to add in all the nice little cracks and all the little lines, and you can add as little or as much as you want. This is where you can let your artistic side run wild and add as many cracked lines. I usually like to add a ton, but go wild. For the next, we're going to do the baby effect. And what is the baby effect? Well, it all starts with this comment that I saw here. I actually found it to be incredibly hilarious and a fun little challenge to try, so let's transform him into a baby. I drew heavy inspiration from Disney classics such as Merida from Brave, Moana, and Rapunzel. They just have that certain cherub-like quality, the round features, that are perfect for a cartoon Disney baby. And one way we're going to achieve having a really simple cartoon effect is by using paint pens. And the paint pens that I like to use are 2. One are Grabby and the other are Shuttle Art. Both are really, really good, and I actually use them for multitude, even for just highlights and touch-ups. Not that I couldn't use alcohol markers, but paint pens specifically just add a really bold, vibrant color that sometimes alcohol markers just don't have. They can look a little wash or pastel-y at times, but with the pigmentation of a paint pen, it's just second to none. It layers so well. It's just so bold, and you don't get as really much streaking sometimes as you do with an alcohol marker. And that's why I just think it's perfect for any cartoon effect. If you notice, a lot of illustrators that do a lot of the really cool effects, like glitch, etc., they all use paint pens, and that's for a good reason. And of course, no baby effect would be complete without his bottle. I could have given a microphone, but a bottle just works so well. Demon Baby Saja might be horrifying, but not as horrifying as what you're about to see next. Let's get on to the horror style. My inspiration for this scene came from 2 folds. One, From the Harry Potter scene where Voldemort is finally revealed in the first movie. Yeah, I know, big spoiler alert. But I like this concept of what has Baby Saja got underneath his cap? And maybe it's a demonized creature just living at the back of his skull, kind of like Voldemort was throughout the first movie. And my second was from one of my favorite B-horror movies from the 80s. It's a little movie called Basket Case, and well, be prepared for a jump scare because this creature is both horrifying and hilarious all at the same time. I mean, just look at that thing. I mean, it's too funny, but it does have really creepy effects to it, and I wanted to emulate that within this drawing. A combination of both my little ode to Basket Case and Voldemort all in one shot. And I really love the way this thing came out. It's funny, it's cartoony, it doesn't take itself too seriously, which is never really something I like to do with my horror. I like to keep it a little bit more on the fun and whimsical side. It is a family-friendly show. I do try to keep the gore to a minimum, but I do like making things look a bit scary when need be. Now, just because I'd make things a little less creepy or gory than some places doesn't mean there isn't going to be a lack of artistic value. And how we're going to do this is by adding tons of colors. See, even though there were some skin tones here, I'm adding lots of purples. I'm going to add tons of reds, and I'm going to slowly blend in the skin tones over the top. So this way it kind of looks like it's almost sewn or attached into the side of the head. Like the cap would just barely fit over it. And I want to put all these little tufts of hair, because I don't want it to be just a slimy looking creature. I want it to almost look like they are one and the same. So we have to add those little tufts of hair all throughout. And then same thing, we're going to give it this nice treatment of making sure that all the hairs look like they're in place. We're going to make sure that the shadow and the shading are all there, but we're not going to keep the hair clean. We're not keeping the hair neat here. We're going to put all the little hairs in all the little spots. We're going to add some rough color pencil shading over the top. And the reason why we're going to do the rough color pencil shading is because I want to add all that nice texture that the paper has. And that's how we get all those details. Then when the drawing is almost finished, we add in all these little individual hairs over the top just to make it look a little bit more bedraggled. But we got to add in all the shading within the eye, making sure that the eye is not just white. We want to make sure that we add all the color in it too, because it does have color and it needs to be there. It needs to be held accountable because it's important. And that final little highlight, and we are just about complete with a little bit of saliva action. Okay, so which side of Baby Saja was your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this, then YouTube will think that you'll absolutely love the drawing that's coming on your screen now.